Yo, yo, what it do, folks? Yeah, welcome. We're here in the Hangout. Welcome in. We got y'all in the building. We're back again, gospel producers, with a really dope show today. I'm super excited. Do us a quick favor. Shout out where you're from down in the comments. I see we had Atlanta, Georgia in the building. Had my man Greg. I didn't miss your name, but we had your name. We got you in here from DC. Is in the building. This is gonna be a really dope show. A man said, where was that at? He said, who is the intro music from? I'm glad you asked who the intro music from. That is Doobie Powell's Peculiar Sounds. Is some tracks we did for Peculiar Sounds when we were launching that particular joint. It was done by some various producers, but you can check out Doobie Powell's Peculiar Sounds. Shameless plug. We'll rock with that. We appreciate you guys. Yo, Clayton, North Carolina's in the building. Yo, that's dope. So we're not gonna prolong. We're not gonna keep you guys long. I got some special guests in the building. I got none other than my men and my guys from across the sky. I got Delevanta from Atlanta in the building, and then I got my guy, the man, the myth, the legend, none other than Vaughan Phoenix in the building. Y'all give it up for Vaughan. What y'all doing? What y'all got going on, fellas?
What up, man?
What it do?
Can you hear me, bro?
I got you. I don't hear Dale. Dale, you in there?
Am I back?
You back now.
Dale fans, right, he got attachments. That's what happened. Take some of them attachments off, dog. You
better, bro. Hilarious, man, fellas. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the Hangout. All of you guys watching us from various places across the land. We got a very special guest in the building today. We got to get churchy because we're talking about gospel on today. We got the man of God in the building, Vaughan Phoenix. And if you don't know this guy, he is a phenomenal producer, multi-award winning. We can't just say one award. We can't just say Grammy. We can't just say Stellar. We can't just say Dove. We got to say them all. He's just a multi-award winning producer who has produced and played on some of the most iconic records in gospel. In case you didn't know. I mean, this is the guy. We're talking Happy, Tasha Cobbs. We talking about half of Tasha Cobbs' catalog, probably. We talking like Anwar. We talking a bunch of people. I'll be remiss, as they say in the church, if I tried to name all of the people that this guy is produced for, played for, been in the company of, wrote for, because he's a writer, producer, artist now. We're going to talk about that a little bit today. This guy is a phenomenal producer. And here's the dope thing. He uses Ableton to produce like gospel music. Like, we know about Ableton for its live, that's what they call it, Ableton Live. It's live capabilities and functions, running stems, running tracks, controlling production elements, lights, lyrics, all of that stuff like that we rock with at church and stuff like that, and on the road and on gigs and shows and stuff. But how many of y'all can say it in the comments? I doubt it's going to be many of y'all actually produce gospel. We talking about straight ahead gospel stuff in Ableton. Let us know down in the comments. But I do know our guest of the hour, Vaughan, does use Ableton, man. But man, I'm gonna let you introduce yourself a little bit, man. Give us like that 15-second, 20-second, 35-second intro of who you are, who you be, where you hail from, what you do.
Hey, man. Currently live in Rochester, New York, where God lives. Huh? No, man, it's simple, man. From Virginia.
Wow.
By way of Atlanta, by way of Chicago, and by way of Rochester.
Yes, sir.
Started producing when I was teenager when we were using tape. And
Dang.
now, I came in doing musically from church and being a music director. My first music directing gig. I don't know if I ever told you this, dude. My first gig was for Beverly Crawford.
Man,
That
no, I
was
didn't
my
know that.
first
That
time
I didn't
being a
know.
music
Beverly
director.
Crawford.
First time being a music director. I didn't even know the term. Right, this is the '90s.
That's crazy.
And so yeah, dude, I just been doing this a long time, 27 years in the industry. And I've been blessed. I wasn't planning on winning any awards, but I came in doing hip hop and R&B, and that has helped me so much when it comes to producing any music because
Yeah.
it's a different vibe. So yeah, man, honored and glad that God gave me the opportunity to do stuff like this. And I'm a dad and now a pastor
Yeah.
and an artist and a bunch of other fun stuff. But those are assignments.
Wow,
For
man.
me, I'm just earnest. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Nuts, bro. So you just been just goating the game for a minute. I mean, you've walked in just about every faculty as it relates to being a
Yeah.
producer and just in music in general. You're talking 27 years in the game. That's a lot of experience and a lot of, I'm pretty sure, a lot of stories, man. But what was some of those iconic records that you worked on? I just want to make sure that the people understand fully who you are, what you bring to the table. I mean, because I know you're like that. You're like Forrest Gump. You're like the Forrest Gump of the music industry. You like that guy.
I am literally Forrest Gump. That is from now on. Matter of fact, I'm changing my profile name to Forrest Gump.
That's hilarious.
I'm changing.
For real, you like the Forrest Gump. And
changing.
Forrest Gump was like that dude that was just a part of everything. He was like, this dude was like
It's
the
true.
pivotal person in history. I feel like that's who you represent in the gospel industry, man. Just in our music industry, you've been a part of so many iconic things, man. So just name some of the stuff, man, that you've just been pleasure to be on.
Bro, started with a little record called Smile. It was with Tasha Cobbs. His first gospel record I ever produced. Grace. That was the one that was with Break Every Chain and all that. Co-produced MD, arranged and everything on there. William Murphy, Demonstrate, all the way up into before that, God Chaser, wrote the title track on that and played keys and arranged. Everything William Murphy up into Settle Here.
Wow.
Full Gospel, that arrangement of Big, My God is Big. I produced that album. Everything, man. Shoot, JJ Harrison, Vashawn Mitchell, Miranda Curtis, Corinne Hawthorne, Melvin Crispell III. A lot of people, man. I've been blessed. I just did matter of fact, I got a new record coming out with Vashawn. The last JJ record, I got a song that just came out with him called that's terrible. I'm gonna remember the name in a minute and I'll remind you. But yeah, I got a song. It's Go Go. They flipped it and did a Go Go version of it. Normally people call me to do for something different. They'd be like, I need an up tempo. I need something different. So the thing that the church tried to put me out for in the beginning is the reason why I'm
is
still
what you singing
now.
with now. That's crazy. Yeah, man. So much history. I mean, from playing keys on those records and producing on those records. How many of those records now? Okay,
yeah, Hallelujah anyhow. Thank you, Clifton. Yeah, Hallelujah.
Okay,
anyhow.
Hallelujah in it. Yep.
JJ Harris.
Wow. So how many of those records would you say, how many of those records did you actually produce in Ableton? Like out of all of those ones that's been released over the last?
Done in the last, man, 5-6 years.
Yeah.
Anything from All Nations Music, like that, Come Alive.
Yeah.
Anything in the last 6 years, it's all Ableton. Anything.
It's crazy, man. So why Ableton though? Like what? I mean, because I think we did a poll in the group like a few days ago. Yeah. We was talking about like in our gospel producers group. For those who don't know, we have a private group on Facebook where we rock and stuff like that. That's our core. We Did a poll in there where we were asking like, what DAW do you use to produce? Of course, overwhelmingly, Logic was the GOAT. You know, in terms of what everybody was putting. I don't think anybody actually put Ableton. And
I could probably tell you
I don't
why.
remember. Dale, you can look it up for us and let us know. But I don't think anyone said Ableton. I think it was predominantly Logic and Studio One. I think
Studio
those were
One
the
is
two.
another come up.
I think those were the top two that were kind of thrown out in the group that were produced, but I don't remember how many of them actually.
It was Logic. Ableton had 8%.
8%.
Reason Studio 3%. Studio One
Reason?
19%. Yeah, Reason. Cubase Nuendo 5%. Pro Tools 6%. FL Studio 2%.
Listen to me. If your music has 808s in it, it's something about the way them 808s come out of Fruity Loops.
Oh, bro.
I don't know what they doing over there, but the people like DJ Mustard, all those guys, that's all Fruity Loops.
That's exactly what they're doing over there.
Yeah. At one point, I forgot the percentage. It was over 70-something% of the music that was in the top 10 was produced in Fruity Loops.
I could see that. There's something, like you said, there's something about it. And I know a lot of other cats that are getting into FL for like just, I started in FL. I want to say that was probably my first DAW. We talking about, like you said, when it was called Fruity Loops, and you got to be a certain age.
All the way back. Yeah.
You got to be a certain age to know it's Fruity Loops, to know it is
what
Fruity Loops.
What you trying to say, bro? What you trying to say?
Hey, I'm right there with you. I ain't but a couple of years, but shy of you, Doc.
Look at
this. You can't see it on camera, but I got a little gray right here. I got a little gray. And the reason I wear this hat, the whole reason I wear this hat is because of all of the gray. I got patches. Like I look I like puppy patches. You know, like you got that puppy that's got all those little patches. That's what I got in my hair right now. I got patches, and I'm not gonna show y'all on camera. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I try to keep my young looks. I keep my hat on because of that reason. But nah, man, that's super dope. So why Ableton? What did you start in, and what made you switch over to Ableton for your production and starting to do records in there? What was the big move behind the shift on that?
Well, so here's the history of it in like 30 seconds. I started off, the first track I ever produced was on an Ensoniq TS10. It was an Ensoniq TS10. That's the first thing that I ever produced on. Went from there, and that my guy had a 4-track, so I had to do everything internally, right? So I've always been a big fan of being contained, right? Went from there, met Teddy Riley in 97. And by then I was on to my XP60, right? I had an XP60 and a Roland what was it called? The VS 1880.
Doc, they don't know about that. See,
burn your CD.
They don't know about the 1880. That was the first one, I think, that had the CD burner built into it. If I remember correctly. We thought we was doing something.
Yeah, you could bounce them down, and by the time I finished, I was like at 100 tracks. I had like bounced all my vocal tracks down and stuff. So for me, again, love the box. So 97 is when I met Teddy. And then by 2003 was when I actually got signed by another person. And so I started on Logic producing music and Pro Tools for mixing. And that was with we had like a mixed core system with the expansion chassis and whatnot. So that's how long I've been at it. I started at Logic when it was eMagic, and it cost about $1,000 for Logic. Oh no, it's $13 for Logic. Yeah. And each instrument costs either $199 or a little bit above. Like,
bro, cats don't know about that. So you got to slow down with that part right there. Just the history.
I'm got the Logic box back there.
Yeah, I got 9 somewhere around here. I got or Logic Express. I got Express somewhere around here. That was when I kind of got into the game.
Behind me. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's contained. But the thing for me about Logic that I loved during that time was I had my whole rack, my MoFat, my Planet Fat, my XV5080, all of those things is now on Rolling Cloud and these other entities.
Yeah.
I had did my MIDI information, so I had all my sounds on Logic, so I could pull them up and dial up all my modules, everything right in Logic. So I've always been a fan of a user-friendly GUI. And so fast forward, Apple buys Logic, and then I got mad because I was like, y'all made it into GarageBand. And then I got into it, I was like, okay, I get it. But I understood what they were doing. Now a guy who had a couple of $100, the first one they went down to $9.99. Then they went all the way down to like $199. So these kids just started producing in their bedrooms, and we started hearing some new things. That's a subject for another day. So now I got introduced to Studio One before I got introduced to Ableton. Because Teddy had moved. I saw him again in like 08, 09, and he was in LA. And he was like, yo, you need to be on this. And he was telling me about a record they had did for Michael. And he mixed it in Studio One. And they was like, the label loved it. They was going to put it out. And they were like, well, we love it. You know, he's like, cool, let me mix it in Pro Tools. But he said because of the headroom in Pro Tools versus Studio One at that time, he's like, he couldn't get the mix. You know, if you know Ted, he loves them. He loves it to punch. That's specifically why I like snares in your. I want them to punch you in the face at all times, right? So,
all times.
Then I got on Studio One. I was like, it's all right. So I left that and went right back to Logic. But then I bought a MIDI board that came with Ableton Lite, and I was like, what the heck is this? Put it in the computer. That's when we still had the DVDs.
This drive.
Loaded it in. Yeah. And so I put it in my computer. And I was like, this just looks weird. And the colors is just, what is this? And so I got away from it. It wasn't until I had to run stems for somebody. And they were like, yo, you should really try Ableton, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, all right. So I did that. And I was like, this is kind of cool. And so this is why I went that whole route. When I started out producing hip hop and R&B, we were sampling through the MPC. I would sample all my sounds. I never liked using anybody else's sounds. I'm still that way. And I would sample through the MP. You had to transfer it. You had the zip drive, do all of that, you know, and then put it in Logic. And then we would use. Then I went to the ESX inside of Logic, sampling into there, had my own libraries. Well, when I got to Ableton, it made sense. I was like, oh, this is a DJ program.
Yeah.
Got it. So it's a DJ program with an arrangement view or with a session view, right? So once I got that concept and I saw how easy I could take my loops and samples and just drop them on the line, it saved me like years when it came to making my tracks or the doing the pre-production for all of these albums. Because gospel is all about the pre-work, in my opinion, right? If you're gonna do something live, the more you do ahead of time, the easier it's gonna be during the session. And
see, we need to get you on just to talk about that part of it, because I think a lot of people, and I almost want to put a pin right here at this point and just share that, because that's something I don't think we need to, because I think me and Dale been had that on the list, the topics to talk about here for a minute, is to actually talk about that live recording process. And I think because you've been a part of so many live recordings, you're kind of in a very unique space to even speak to that. Because man, bro,
not just live recordings, good live recordings.
Yeah,
I've been a part of both sides.
Good live recordings. Ones that got Danny Duncan doing the recording,
or Dave Havoc,
or Dave. Yep. Either one of those, man, those type live recordings. But you've been in that space for in several of those spaces, you know, from day one all the way up to now. And so I just want you to talk about that pre-production process, because I think a lot of us miss it. I got a couple of records, a couple of producers I'm working with now that I'm just waiting on files from for the mix because they're in basically post-production HE double hockey sticks because they didn't do.
I'm doing that because I would have just said it.
They're in there. That's where they are. So we working through that, but I think that pre-production was saved the day if people get a concept of that. So just speak on that just a little bit. Let's put a pin right there. We'll come because I know it's going to tie into what you do at Ableton anyway.
I'll do it in relationship to Ableton. So
yeah,
pre-production. First of all, you shouldn't let people know that you're going to have a live recording until you have something to record. That's probably where it starts.
Preach the word, Rev. Preach, Pastor.
We don't need any flyers. We don't need any flyers. We don't need anything else. A venue. We don't need an engineer until we have the songs.
Preach Phoenix.
These are the songs. Better to have more than what you need than not enough. And then you should have those arranged. Now, once you have the songs, then you can start putting things in motion because the songs inform you. Okay, this sounds like I need these type of background vocals. First of all, before you get to even any of that, this is the producer I'm going to need for this type of record. That's where that starts. All right, and then that producer is going to work with you and say, "Oh, I think you need to try my MD or this guy. He's really good at this kind of music. He knows how to put this together." Now you got your core. You got the artist, you got the producer, you have your music director. Between them three, you can have something great, right? Especially if everybody's responsible and everybody knows what they're doing. Well, once you and the producer and the music director sit down with these songs, now you got to get into arrangement, right? And so it's better to have. I have this thing that I would always do because I started working with a worship artist first, which was Tasha. Tasha, don't nail me down. So I need to be free. And so our greatest challenge in the beginning was how do we format it? So I came up after doing a few of those, like, hey, I just need you to give me my 3 minutes and 30 seconds or 4 minutes and 30 seconds, and then come in the reprise and do whatever you want to do. I mean, go off because we may be able to use some of that. Don't stop the click. Don't stop the click. Don't stop that click. And we can put all of that. We may be able to use that. Might be a better vamp. We might need to just switch these vamps out. So pre-production is the arrangement is essentially done musically. And the vocals, if all possible, are basically done. You may have like something that you do special that night that you have to go back in, but for the most part, the album is recorded. Your singer has come in, the lead vocalist has done a dummy vocal so they can live with it and go, I might should say this, or I need to dig in a little bit more in this area, that area, right? So that way, or wait, this song is really hard to sing. I need to do this first.
Mm-hmm. That's knowledge, bro.
Yeah, that's pre-production, and so for the reason why I do all of that in Ableton from a music director standpoint is it's just easier for me to move around, hotkeys, drag and drop. I can bounce something out of Logic, throw it in Ableton. 9 times out of 10, it's gonna be dead on. It's gonna say this file has tempo information. Do you want to import it? Yeah, sure. You know what I'm saying? It's really, really easy to work with. And then when you have the artist like, I want to change this, I want to change that, I want to change this, I want to change that. Man, let me tell you something. I'll be sending them changes back in 10 minutes. You want to write? Okay, cool. So it's just the ease of use, man, because you're essentially a good music director is a really good DJ. They know how to control energy flow. You know what I'm saying? A DJ knows what Phoenix. Intros to use. Do you know if you ever been in the club? I have. If you ever been in the club with a good DJ, when that song comes on, he knows. And all of a sudden you see it. Oh, it's the same thing. He knows how to read the room. Hey, read the room, fill the room. It's the same thing. So when you're
good.
doing pre-production, the music director, the producer is thinking about, okay, how is this going to feel the night of? Are the people going to be too tired by the end of this,
Yeah.
to enjoy this song? You know what I mean? To get what this song is saying, right? Or you need to say it like this. That's all pre-work. So it makes the night a lot easier. That's all I'm saying. So yeah.
No, bro, that's solid, bro. That's solid. And I hope you guys are taking notes, because I mean, I'm telling you, I see these live recordings pop up every day on Facebook. It's like everybody's doing the live recordings. I know of at least 10 probably that's happening in the next 3 months, because I just done seen them pop up everywhere. And I'm like, yo, come on, not the X32 recording. We got it. We don't have time. We don't have time.
Wait, I'm not knocking Baron. I'm not knocking Behringer X32. It is.
No, we are for recording. Yes, we are. Yes, we are for live recording. We are.
I just want to say I'm proud of
them.
I just want to say I don't want to keep replacing these drums.
But you know what it is? It's the same conversation that we have with about producers that they get Logic, they get a laptop, and they get Logic, or musicians. Let's go back. Let's back it back. Musicians that get a laptop and they get Logic, audio, a Focusrite. We know how we feel about Focusrite over here. They get a Focusrite.
Wait, don't talk about Focusrite. Focusrite.
They get the Focusrite, Doc, and they all of a sudden they're a producer. You know what I mean? They get
no, let me say this. No, because we're not gonna do Behringer like this and Midas. We're not gonna do them like this.
No. That's good. It's good stuff.
There's nothing wrong. No, stop this. There's nothing wrong with the X32 if that's where you start.
If that's where you start, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm not gonna trash it.
But we're not gonna pretend. Here's the thing. Okay, since this is a real conversation. Okay,
real conversation. It's a hangout, bro.
This ain't Mike ain't slide me no money to say any of this. Here's the thing, guys. You have to be honest with yourself, right? You have to be honest. Oh, I see somebody came and said, "What's the problem with the X32?"
Go ahead.
He just put it up for context. He just put it up for context.
You just, here's the thing. You have to know if you're using X32 what you're using. Like, don't expect to have the same quality and value as, let's say, a freaking Waves. Some people be thinking they use
Avid S6 or something like that. Venue.
Yeah, a venue. Don't expect
I bring the whole rack. So
or rack stuff or API pre's.
It comes with me when I do the live recordings. Like we
don't hit up John and be like, I need you to mix this, and I want it to sound like Kirk Franklin.
You know they do, bro. You know they hit you.
And where's you record this on, man? Okay, matter of fact, check this out. This is what y'all don't know. Y'all want no secret? Part of Come Alive was recorded on an X32.
Okay.
You want to know?
We got receipts. We got receipts.
Come on.
You want to know the part of it I had the most trouble with to match up to the quality of what was when Dave and Watermark came up in All Nations. It was the part that was recorded on an X32. So the thing is just but the benefit of a me or a John is if we are in that context, we know how to maneuver, right? So that we can get the highest quality out of what we're using. But don't think for a second that we're not deceived.
Yeah.
Like you have to be honest about it.
God is not mocked.
On the X32, man, start where you're starting. Start where you're starting.
Yeah, I need the X32 to sound like, it's not gonna do it. Not gonna sound like Ricky. You can talk to Derek Stevenson about that. About how to get that Ricky Diller sound. You need to talk to Derek about that.
I mean, let's start with having a real piano.
You know what I'm saying?
You should start with what?
Let's having a real piano.
Let's start. Yeah, it's a lot of dynamics that comes in. I don't want us to get stuck here because we get stuck here with like it's a well. But the thing that gets me is what I was gonna say about the X32 situation is it's the same It's the same concept when producers get the laptop and they think they're a producer, or musicians get a laptop and they think they're a producer. Cats get the X32 and all of a sudden they think we can do a live recording, you know, because we got 32 channels that we can plug in via USB into our laptop and do capture.
That's not enough for most of these.
It's not. It's not.
Let's talk about this. Let's talk about these mics plugged up to this.
Mics, bro. SM58.
Not even an SM58.
Not even 58. The POW joints. That's what I was thinking about.
The SM58 that's God's will. We gonna listen.
Yeah.
They got the Amazon special.
I got
the POW joints
right behind me, brother.
Bro.
Yeah.
But no, that's what they think. And I think that's part of the issue that we run into, John, as you know, getting this stuff.
Can I say this real quick?
Go ahead, bro.
I've said this to like some of my mentees, right? Not enough people, and this is to broaden the spectrum. All right. So again, I'm not against Behringer, the X32. I've done recordings with it, as a matter of fact. The problem that I don't have a problem with them, but I should say the challenge I have with what we're putting out as content, as IPs now is, I'm listening to a bunch of people that have never studied. And I know they don't study by what they're putting out. I know they haven't spent time with it by what they're putting out. Now, put it out, get your money, do all that. But you have to be, I've always been honest about where I am in my journey because I keep people around me who help me remain. One of my biggest mentors is Aaron Lindsay. The funny thing is, we never talk about music, which is hilarious. We just do music together. Like he sent me, I did a song for Kenny Lattimore called, I forgot the name of the song. Anyway, stuff like that, or it'll be a random, hey man, I need some drums for Ty Tribbett, Drummer Boy. All right, cool, got you. And I did the programming and all that stuff for Ty Tribbett, Drummer Boy on the Motown record a few years ago. And you need people around you, and you need to study so that you're honest with where you are in your journey as a producer. I ain't talking about, does it sound like what's on the radio right now? Because if it sounds like what's on the radio now, chances are you're already behind, because what we're listening to is what's getting ready to happen in the next 2 years. That's good. So the song I'm getting ready to put this EP out. The songs that's on this EP are like 6 years old. Like the stuff that I sent over to you, the songs are 6 years old. Wow. Right? But they're ready now.
Yeah.
The consumption of it is ready now. You have to be mindful of where you are in your journey. When we had humility coming up. Even you had confidence, but you had humility. The first studio I ever walked into was TR, like Future Hits. So I walked into a studio and the first thing I saw was 26 million records sold. Remember the time. I knew immediately I wasn't ready. I knew immediately I was undone. Here I am standing in the place of the guy I've admired forever since like that was I had a whole moment, sorry. In case you guys don't know, that was Dougie Fresh.
We let you have it.
I had to get it out of my spirit. I felt that. I might have to put it on after we get off of here. My point is, when you're around this, here's a nugget though. When you're around greatness, be humble. That's gonna allow you to glean. I've learned more and been more informed about my ability and where I'm at. I asked Danny Duncan, well, what mic are you using on that? Well, why do you use that mic? Really? And then or Yash, you know, when I'm listening to Yash, he's like, oh, I know those claps. That's me and Roger. What? You just gonna throw that out there?
Just like that.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact.
Yeah, no, I know those claps. And I was like, really? You know, those moments helped me to understand where I'm at. These comments are hilarious.
Yeah, they are, bro.
Those moments have allowed me to learn. And then they'll say, you should listen to I say, Yash, how do I get that Sly and the Family Stone? Like, how do I get that? He's like, y'all are gonna have to play in the room together.
Mm.
Nuggets.
Yeah.
I'm studying right now.
That's so good, bro.
I'm studying because I have not peaked as a producer. I haven't peaked. So I'm studying. When somebody just said Cedric Thompson and all that,
Yeah.
you look at Karen Clark Sheard, when I heard Finally Karen, and I heard
Yeah,
when you
bro.
listen to what Kevin Bond was doing back in the day, when you hear what I can't do, I can go on and on about this, but my point is, when I'm listening to someone that doesn't study, you can't get out of an X32 what I can get out of an X32.
Exactly.
Because you're using, like, I remember the first time I bought an Apogee, but the mic will remain nameless. but I had and I'm like, man, my joint ain't sounding right now. I remember the guy telling me, he said, dude, you might as well give me your Apogee and go back to an M audio something, he said. And I was like, really? He said, dude, you're not taking advantage. And he explained to me what audio processing was and my drivers that I had in the Apogee, and how my microphone wasn't allowing me to get the full benefit of even using an Apogee. So just because you got a duet or a quartet or keep going, or symphony or whatever, you're not getting the full bit. I don't care what DAW you use. I work in all DAWs. You can have everything you want. If you don't know how to use it, I promise you will get whooped every time. And you think your joint dope until you get it. And John, I don't know if you ever experienced this, but it was smacking in your house. And then you get to the studio with the whole line of producers, and they like, all right, play me something. And you put your joint on.
With an aux cord.
Yeah. You plug your joint up. You be like, yeah. And then Polo or one of them other jokers come in there
and just mess you up. I wish we was gonna have Jan on the show.
That's humble.
That's humble. We was gonna have Jan on the show today. He couldn't make it. He couldn't make it for us.
Apparently, I don't use 808s.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Wait a minute. That's 808? Oh, okay. I wouldn't use 808s. My
I was using kicks.
Then you be back there like this. It's good.
For real, bro. No, that's real. That's real. That's real. But no, man, I'm gonna interject this. I did see something. I was looking up something on the side here while y'all were talking, and I just want to do this for clarity's sake. I found this on Sweetwater's site. It says, what is a preamp? And this ties right in what you do. It talks about a preamp, yada, yada, yin yang, what it is. You need to know what a preamp, because a lot of us get on these soapboxes. We get out here on these apps and we start talking, and it's like, yeah, such it's got them Midas pre's in it. Okay, what is a Midas pre? What's like Vaughan said, what's the origin of that pre? What was the first unit that had a Midas pre in it? And what's the claim to fame of having Midas pre's? You know what I'm saying? You got to know that. But there was this one line I want to highlight here that says what a preamp isn't. This is on Sweetwater's site. So let's start with an obvious one. A preamp isn't a magic bullet that will solve all of your audio woes. Got to throw that in there. I'm telling you, it's not that. It's not a magic bullet. It says, in fact, a preamp generally won't solve any problems you have with your sound. A quality preamp will get even more out of the good audio you're already getting, which implies that you need to have good audio before you have a good pre. A good pre with bad audio still equals trash. It just does. So it's the pre is the icing on the cake. And if the cake, let's zoom in on this. We got to zoom in. The preamp is the ice on the cake. And if the cake isn't good, even the best icing isn't going to fix it.
Brother, you can
doors
put
of the church
are
open. You can come by letter, Christian Experience. candidate for baptism. Now unto him that is able to keep us
He came on that.
going home on that, dog. But no, that's serious though. Like we get locked in. We get so locked into what this is and what this piece of gear is. And I was sitting with Duncan a few weeks back, and we recorded a podcast that's going to be coming out pretty soon. It's the GOAT. And Danny said I asked him how he got into recording, and he said he was thrown into it. He was thrown into it by Tommy Sims. Tommy Sims literally threw Duncan into the fire as a young 20-something-year-old and basically just said, figure it out. And so what Duncan did, said he got his 10,000 hours. He got his 10,000 hours that first month he got thrown into recording, because this dude said he sat in that studio for days and days on end, listening to what microphones sound like, listening to what pre's sound like, mix matching different pre's with different ones, playing with mic placement. He said he go in, he put the mic on the kick drum, and then he go in and record and he listen. And then he come back and then he move it to a different place, and then he play something and he come back and listen again. And then he would go back and do, and so he figured out what is that, because there's a place that you're supposed to put this mic that's going to get the best sound. And so what he did was he kept experimenting until he found out what the best sound was, or the best placement was for that sound. We don't want to do that type of homework. We want to watch a 10-minute YouTube video and be like, yep, got it. All right, we're doing live recording next week.
And that's
what we do. Keep it a buck.
But Danny has a special way. If you ever worked with Danny, he has a special way of recording drums. That's all I'm gonna say. There's a certain way he mics drums that you know.
And we talked about it. We talked about it. That's coming out soon. Y'all need to. I got some stuff we're planning, but that's coming out really, really soon. But it's an appointed time for that particular conversation. And once that conversation drops, you guys are gonna definitely enjoy it, because it's gonna be super, super dope. I can't wait to show it to you, man. Okay, I know we get stuck in live recording. I know it's all relevant, but moving back into your Ableton journey. I don't know how we got all the way over there.
It's just, man, it's just a DAW. Like
it's just a DAW.
It's just a DAW. Like, I think we get too hung up on. We think that if we use the same DAW somebody else is using, we're gonna it's gonna sound like them. And I think the best comment that I've seen up here is from Jonathan from Gooch, when he says it starts at the source, right?
There it is.
Timbaland uses for a long time. Timbaland uses Ableton, by the way. Just throw it out there. But I'm saying that for me, with Ableton, the way I move, I'm able to move through Ableton. I can't do that in other DAWs. Like, so the things that are strong for my style of production, I find more of them in Ableton. Second thing I would tell you is this. Another reason why I'm able to use Ableton is because I have incredible VSTs. Like, I don't use a lot of stock sounds, so I don't have to rely on Logic's. To me, anybody who starts, I always send them directly to Logic, because I don't know what else you're going to pay $199 and have a full professional situation in front of you.
Well, they about to change that up on us. They Apple about to change it up on us. We'll talk about that in a second, about the Logic situation, because that's some new information that just dropped yesterday. We'll dig into that in just a second, because I do want to get your take on that, but we'll talk about that in a second. But so what are those top features? What are those things that you would say I get from Ableton that I can't get anywhere else? What are those make or break things that keep you there?
When they shoot you that voice note that ain't got no tempo, let's start there. I will map that tempo out in a matter of 10 minutes or less.
Wow.
So it saves me. I just took a lot of time when the flex time tool, I think is what they call it in Logic.
That's what I was about to ask.
It's not as strong as Ableton.
Yeah.
It's gotten better. It's just not as strong as Ableton. When it comes to changing pitch, keys, all of that, the way you can warp is so fast. that it saves me a ton of time, and time is money, right? So
Come
if
on.
I'm looking at how quickly I can get through this, if you've got 4 or 5 projects, you don't have time to be sitting here dealing with you know, the insecurity of an algorithm. You want to be able to just kind of go. And so Ableton for me, when it comes to warping, when it comes to changing pitch, keys, again, it's a DJ program.
Yeah.
So I can fly. Let's say if we're doing a show and you want to, the artist like, man, I kind of want to feel like this song keeps increasing tempo as we go, and I want to add
Yeah.
this sample, and that just start throwing some samples at me. I've done it in real time. I've had like Lauryn Hill sample over top of this person, or adding I remember I was doing no letting go, no holding back. I was throwing that sample on top of a gospel record and stuff. We were doing a bunch of stuff at Dream Center, and I was literally DJing in real time, right? So that for me
So
is the top.
good.
Warping is number one, right?
Warping. Yep.
And then the other thing that I love about Ableton is, to me, it's very versatile. Like if you're in clip mode, right? Ableton is the closest thing to an MPC. I said it. When I hit play in Ableton, it ain't no stutter step.
No, it's no
If
stutter.
they
Yeah.
start shouting, if they start dancing, and they
Yeah,
and they
it's
start
instant.
clapping, when I hit one, the click track is gonna start. With Logic, there's that.
Yeah.
You got to guess a
Yeah,
little bit.
it's a hit. Yeah, yeah.
Hold on now.
That's it. That's the take. That's the take of the day right there.
Top three. So third thing, and I have a ton, is grouping in Ableton is the easiest thing ever. Summing,
Yeah.
or what we would call summing. Man, dude,
Yeah.
I just grabbed some tracks and hit Command G, and
Command G, bro.
all of a sudden, here we go. And I can group,
gotta
and
group.
I love it that I can group my groups.
Mm.
Like, so I don't like to put my, give this away for free. So I don't like to put my kicks in the same group as like snare and other things.
Yeah.
Right. But I do like my drums grouped together. So
Yeah.
I like to have my group of kicks, because sometimes I have a lot of different kicks, and then I just like to treat them differently, and I don't want them to be treated as a whole, right? So to save space on with my RAM and everything in the processing, I'll group the kicks and treat them, then group my snares and the rest of the drums, and then I'll group those groups together. Well, in Ableton, that's literally 3 clicks.
Yeah.
Versus got to go down and assign, and then do this, and then so it's, again, for me, it's time. It's just time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
All those mixes I let you hear,
Yeah.
from start to finish, everything was done in Ableton, and it's nuts.
Yeah, he's got a, and side note, he's got a record. Do you know when was it coming out? You got a date? It's coming out
in May. I'll give you guys a date in the next couple days. But yeah, I gotta
y'all make sure y'all follow. Y'all make sure y'all follow him so y'all can do it, because he let me hear the playback on this record, and he mixed it, produced it. No, I'm sorry. Let's go all the way back. Arranged it, recorded it, produced it, mixed it, and mastered it all in Ableton. And when I tell you, it's probably one of the best records I've heard. I mean, that's not gospel. It's gospel-ish. We'll give you gospel-ish. It's some undertones in there.
Yes, it's gonna be some undertones, but it's stay together music.
It's some stay together music. It's some stuff that we really need, honestly, in the body of Christ. And that's a conversation for another day, because I know y'all ain't, we're going to call it working out. We're going to call it working out. Y'all ain't working out to Fred Hammond. Come on now. Y'all ain't working out to
No Weapon.
not No Weapon.
You need the dance remix version. You gotta have the dance remix version.
Not No Weapon in the bedroom, bro. No. Please tell me y'all ain't.
Oh my God.
Please tell me y'all ain't got it. Please tell me when y'all get ready to, when you and your wife get ready to work out. Y'all get ready to work out. Please tell me.
Worshiping?
Working out is worship.
Hey.
Please tell me No Weapon is not on the playlist. Please tell me that is not on the playlist.
Hey man, if somebody's on that kind of tip, man, there's some issues going on, cuz.
Please.
Ain't no way.
Oh my God.
Please. That is the absolute
Ain't
worst
no
song.
way.
Wait, listen to me. Listen to me. You might need no weapon. It might be a bad night.
I'm done. I'm done. I can't. I don't even know where I'm moving to next in the pod, because that one got me done. I just, because I can picture it, like you coming out the bathroom.
No.
Hold on one second.
Candles
babe, I'll be
lit.
right back. Hold on, babe. I'll be right back.
Candles lit.
Weapon.
Bed of roses.
You in the bathroom like this?
I'm done.
Please, God, not like this.
I can't. It's.
Please, not like this,
I
God.
can't. That's it, guys. I'm putting this up. Here we go.
Oh my God.
Can't. I can't. Okay. We gotta move. We gotta move from that. That.
You told me to act like we was just talking on the phone. Bishop up that time. Oh yeah, I still can't get that.
I can't get it, bro. Let the praise begin. It's getting worse. It's getting worse. It didn't get no better.
Yeah. Here we are.
That page is alive.
It's the visual of hearing. Here we are. Let's get it.
Let's stop. I can't. Yo, if y'all enjoyed this, yo, drop a one in the chat if y'all enjoyed this. This is hilarious to me.
Glory to glory to glory.
I'm done. I'm so done, man. Glory to glory.
Oh my goodness. No.
Okay, y'all stop. We gotta stop.
Right,
That's hilarious.
Ableton is awesome, guys.
Ableton is amazing, man. Ableton is amazing for that kind of stuff.
Look, for all you guys that keep saying it's too hard.
You said what?
For everybody, can you hear me?
I got you now.
Yeah, for everybody keeps saying, you know, it's too hard. Ableton is just tough to get around, and it's because you haven't used it.
Yeah.
Like I think we go so far in one area, and we're so so good at Logic or Studio One that we forget that we started. There was a start.
Yeah.
Right. You didn't know everything in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
So you have to take your time and spend time
and learn
with the DAW and learn.
And speaking of that, that's a perfect segue. We just don't put it all up over your face, but that's cool. We just gonna keep it in front of Vaughn's face anyway because it'll work. Vaughan we have I don't even know how many hours it is. I know it's at least 2 to 3 hours course producing gospel with Ableton. It's on the website. That is the QR code. If you are really interested, I'm talking for real, $30 of investing into yourself in learning. Like Vaughan literally we have this class on the site. Like he pours out for a few hours how he uses Ableton. He pulls up some of the Anwar songs. He pulls up a bunch of joints that he's produced. He even produces a joint in like process. He literally shows you his production process in Ableton. And so you can get that, right? Let me see if I can get my hands together right there. Right there. That's the QR code. Now, if you can scan it, even if you don't, screenshot this and then you can tap on it after you screenshot it, like later on, if you want to do it, you can go ahead and screenshot it and then you can just tap it and it'll take you to the website where you can go ahead and learn that. Now, another prerequisite I just suggest this, is we have a complete Ableton Live for church training where myself and my man Robert Edwards, I'm gonna have him on the show soon. We actually go through Ableton, like how to use it from a church perspective. So if you want to learn how to use Ableton from the church perspective, you get this class, and also get the beginning and the workaround, like how to live and how to move around in Ableton. We cover all of that in this class, even though it's like church focused, but it still covers like the basics of Ableton. And then you can grab Vaughn's course, which is like, okay, you know what you're doing. You're going to learn Ableton. Now let's show you how to actually produce some records in this thing. And that's what I'm all about. I'm all about resources with this thing. That's the whole reason we do this. And we bring people on and we bring people in that are experts in certain areas and in certain fields, because I'm all about removing excuses. Everybody gets out and talk about how hard it is, or how long it takes, or I can't do this, I can't do that, or whatever. And the resources are right there, and we've organized it to you. It's deeper than a YouTube video. You can learn some great stuff on YouTube. I'm always on YouTube University. I never graduate from there. But at the same time, I do have some things that I'm in that are hyper-focused. And that's what this is. It's a hyper-focused situation where it gives you ABC 1, 2, 3. And that's the ad of the day. I put it up one more time for the one more time. And it's going to be gone. We're not going to say nothing else about it. Get this course. $29 to invest in your own self, in what you're doing as an engineer, as a producer, as a musician, whomever, just to learn. And I'm a big, huge proponent of that, of learning and growing. And that's all I got to say about that, man. Anything else you want to add to it, bro?
No, man. I just think you have the great. I will say this, not just because you're here, but I think you have, for as long as I can remember now, you've had incredible materials, man. So I even the material that's not me, I think you can jump on the site. The resources are phenomenal. You got people like John Yash. Come on, dude. Like, it is incredible. I think you probably have one of the only sites as a gospel producer, musician, that I can go to and literally learn any part of my job description on your site. All I have to do is invest a little bit of the money they paid us on Sunday. Yesterday was Monday. So, you already put it in. The check cleared last night. It's up this morning.
Come on.
That's another subject for another day.
But that's what it's about. I'm trying to resource the community, man. Trying to resource the community. You're doing it. So I vouch for any of these courses, man, especially the Ableton course. Learn how to use it for your church and learn how to use it, but then come grab my course and then figure out how to take that a step further and to do a more live production. Exactly.
And producing actually in Ableton. So yeah, I appreciate you, man.
No, man, that's what it is. And just so you guys know, because we got some goofy people out there that are just goofy. Like, we're not making millions of dollars off of this stuff yet. Maybe one day God will bless us. But at the same time, it's literally a labor of love. We're talking, let's put it back on the screen, $29. I know this sounds like an infomercial at this point, but like, for real, like $29.
I think you don't want to see my face.
You know how cool. I am about $30.
Well, $30. You're going to waste that. You probably in the, what time? It's noon. It's 1 o'clock, noon on Central. You probably in drive-through somewhere right now ordering, spending I spend $24 every time I go to Chick-fil-A, bare minimum. Yeah, that's just ordering me and the wife something.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's just there.
When I go to Chick-fil-A, it's a grocery bill.
Don't get me started, because you got as many kids as I got. So.
Indeed. You see these gray hairs? Yeah.
Yep. So you already know what the time it is. So this is not something this is literally a resource. Like, this is not something that makes us millions of dollars or anything like that. It's literally a labor of love. Vaughan Phoenix, multi-award winning, chart topping writer, artist, producer.
I received that.
Speak, Lord. Is pouring out how his process in a 3-hour course, and we giving it to you for $29.99. His time alone is worth
way more.
10x that. 10x.
I'll tell you right now, don't message me, because it costs you a lot less to go ahead and get that.
There you go.
One is not like the other.
There you go. So that's the thing. I just want to make sure you guys get the resource. That's all it is. It's just a resource. But man, it's great to have this conversation now. And I know we're going to be building out some more things and having you on with some more conversations.
We got one question that he.
That's what I was just about to ask. What are the questions we got?
We got one question in here. Anyone willing to offer any quick tips on getting Ableton tracks to sound just as full when we run through the church system? When we run them through the church system as they do when we are listening through headphones.
You want to take that, Vaughan?
You want me to take that?
You can take it if you want it.
Well, I don't think that's not an Ableton problem. Yeah. That's more so of different speakers respond differently.
Exactly.
So one of the things that I do whenever we go to I don't do this anymore, but when I was a traveling music director, one of the things I would do is run the stems alone, and I would go out to the house to see how it sounds. If I'm running stems and I only have 2 tracks, a lot of churches don't have, where I can separate it. For me, I like to use my standard 8. If you give me 8 channels, I am happy, right? But if I can't have that, and maybe my church is just starting out, we ain't got them channels. Don't hate on the church. We're just growing, right? Go out there, play them 2 tracks, go back to your Ableton and mix them to the room.
You don't even got to go back. You can use the app on your phone. Mix it from your phone.
There you go. So you can mix it inside of the DAW. You can adjust it to the room because different speakers respond different ways. When the people get in there, it absorbs a lot of some of the frequencies, right? So you want to make sure the joint still smacks. So tell everybody, don't say anything. Get off your instruments, don't play, and then do a version of them playing with the stem so you can see how it responds. If you got any type of cancellation or anything like that happening when your drummer and your instrument starts playing over top of it. That's what I would say, dude.
I agree, man.
Mix it to the room, Doc.
Yeah. The wholeheartedly, man. It's all about it's a signal flow thing, and a room, and it's so many different aspects that comes into it. I mean, everything that all producers can, and not even just producers, but musicians, and all of us can relate to this statement I'm about to say. Everything sounds smacking when we listening to it in our environment, at home, on our studio monitors, on our headphones, on our beats, but when we go to the car, when we go to something real, we play like you was talking about earlier. When they hand you that aux cord and what you thought was hitting at the house, and you press play and it's like, oh, that ain't paper. For real. So it's always gonna sound smacking in the headphones. It's always in the house situation. Getting it smacking in the house, you're gonna have to spend some time you're working with your own room. And I think somebody else said it in the comment earlier. I missed it, but they said something about like sending multiple tracks. You might need to get a multiple output interface. That's where it comes, where the limitations of an X32 might come in. Where somebody's like, hey, we only got 32 tracks back here, but you want to send us 10 tracks of tracks. We might not be able to handle that with everything.
It's all about you. It's about God.
So you got to figure those things out if you want to.
Is that Ricardo Wallace? Somebody said something about the EQ thing.
Yeah. Let me see. Did you see that?
I was going to say, so the short version is that's what we were talking about earlier about studying, because a lot of times in those situations, you just need to learn. I'm not John Yash, right? But I've been a music director for a very long time. Sometimes your stuff doesn't sound good because there's certain frequencies that jump out in environments, right? So you need to make sure that when you are playing those tracks, and I don't know if you're talking about when you're doing this live, Ricardo.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to scoop stuff,
yeah,
right? Or you have to notch out certain frequencies to make room for the vocal, to make room for other things to shine through, and that's going to change in your environment. So I think every music director should know how to mix.
Yeah,
at least a general knowledge of mixing. So you ain't got to go out and start mixing people's records, but just a general knowledge. So when you go in those environments, you'd be like, ooh, my snare is doing something different in this room. An engineer by the name of Bodo Schulte in Germany. We were doing these big in Germany they have a lot of halls, right? So we would do and we had this one song that was more modern, right? So it was Four on the Floor. This was during the Four on the Floor season. And I got so mad at what he did to my kick because he's like, "Can you please just send me the wave of the kick, please?"
It's the voice for me.
And he told me, he said, and he's like a groovy kind of guy, right? Like this is so swag. Like he could have been another member of Austin Powers. Incredible engineer, cool guy. And what he did to my kick, he said, "Look at your transient." Yes. And they took me to the transient. He's less German than what I'm making this out like. But he took the tail off of it and he said, "You see this attack? It doesn't work in this room because for us, yeah, we like you feel the thump, but in the room, it just takes over everything." And so he started doing different things to my transients.
Wow.
That I was upset about initially, but the overall outcome for the room was better. So first you learn how to play your instrument, then you learn how to play the song, then you learn how to play the room.
Ooh.
The third one is what's most important when you're
down.
on the road. When you have to do live things.
Y'all write that down because that's a good one. That's a good workflow, man. For real, for real. I want to get your opinion. This is not Ableton related, but this is producer related, and I want to also kind of pitch it to the community just for a second. And this is the last thing we'll do since we've been more Ableton focused. I want to throw something in. I'm going to make it relative to some Ableton stuff because I'm going to ask you some questions around it. But Apple just yesterday, they smacked us with Logic Pro for the iPad. They smacked us with this. And it looks like it's going to be pretty interesting. It doesn't come out till the 22nd of May. And not only that, you're going to be paying like $4 a month and $50 a year is what they're going to be doing with that. That's what we was talking about, what I was alluding to earlier when we was talking about, like, hey, you can buy Logic one time, but like they're going to be smacking us with a subscription on Ableton, on Logic, on the iPad. And if I know anything about Apple, as I pay attention to them, they do they test stuff out on iOS first, and if they get a good response, it typically moves over to the Mac or to the larger platforms. They tested out that live loops thing in GarageBand on iOS, and then people liked it so much in GarageBand on iOS that they put it into actual Logic. So I have a feeling that they're going to eventually make the next version of Logic completely subscription based. But what do you think? What's your take on it, man?
What I was laughing about live loops because
they lie because they tried to copy that from Ableton, but
it's all good.
But no, just your take on this particular DAW coming to iOS. You know what I mean?
Come on, dude, it's a game changer. That's what it is. It's a game changer because Apple's whole dynamic, if you follow it, has been about how do we get this in the hands of more people, right?
Yeah.
Of younger people. They don't care nothing about the older guys. The older guys are used for marketing, but it's for the kids. My daughter likes GarageBand on the iPad. So now she can go to Logic on the iPad. And then the other thing is, I knew it was coming because if you watch, Apple has been increasing the speed of their handheld devices, i.e. the phones, the iPads.
In one
so
everything.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Exactly. So they came out with their own chip. That was a game changer. This is going to be a game changer because now I can literally sit with a pen and create a song. Right? I can and I'm guessing by the way they if it's anything like the other things on iPad, you're going to be able to get to the wave forms probably a lot easier, almost as similar as if you're using like a Raven or something like that, because you're on the screen. The real game changer is going to be for me is if you're able to use VSTs. because that's a real question.
I think they're
not
going to be
their
getting
VST.
there. I think I saw something on here.
Yeah.
Let me see. Let me get to it. Software instruments. I saw it on
Yeah,
one of
those
these.
are all Apples.
It's one of them when they show the third party stuff. Let me see, because I think I saw Arturia on there, and I was like, oh man, they got the full mixer on there, so that's a game changer. It's one of those.
Yeah, that's really. I mean, come on, dude. And I like working with my hands anyway. So for me, it's really cool to be able to do that on the screen. Now, the real game changers when Ableton
Yeah,
comes to
and
it.
that's why I wanted to put this up and talk about it, because I feel like Ableton would be the next one to do this. Like Logic, rightfully so, but Apple did Logic first. You know, this the first going to be, I know they talk about Cubases, but Cubases is like a light version of Cubase. It's not the full Cubase on the iPad. Like there hasn't been, to my knowledge, there's some other DAWs that have came in on iPad, on iOS, but this is going to be, to my knowledge, the first actual. We're talking about the big boys: Logic, Pro Tools, Reason, even FL. FL's been on on iOS for a minute, but it's FL Studio Mobile. It's still a mobile version. It's not the full version.
Yeah.
So usually, what you say?
I still have questions though. Like I would love to know. Obviously, audio quality.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's going to be great. I would like to know what features I don't have.
That's what I want to know too.
Like that. That's a shorter list. Now I will say this: people like Rodney Edge, my buddy Rodney Edge. You know him. You guys have spoken before. He has used the iPad for the longest time. Is that a
That's Fab Filter.
Oh God.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Wait a minute.
There's the Moog
No,
joint.
that's Arturia.
Yeah, that's the Moog joint.
That's the Moog.
Black Hole. That's
Yeah.
Eventide.
Wait a minute.
Yeah,
Hold
so
on.
that's what I'm
Wait a
saying.
minute.
Like, I think they're going to be doing it. Like, we're going to be able to get some of the full-fledged joints on there as the companies make themselves available for that particular thing.
I just need Omnisphere.
Yeah, right. I think those are the dreams. I think it's going to happen. I think we're going to get Omnisphere. We're going to get Contact.
Well, it says audio units extensions. What is the write-up on that? Like, do they describe it?
It says tap into, let's zoom in. It says tap into compatible third-party instruments and effects right in your Logic Pro projects. Download apps from top. So I think it's still apps. I think it's still going to be like apps that have like that.
You better make it come back even time.
Oh, we working. Yeah, you know, we working on trying to see if we can get Peculiar Sounds on there. You know, we doing it, but it's one of those things where I think once now that Apple has done it,
Ableton Link.
Yeah, they got Ableton Link, so you can link it with Ableton. You know, that link function where you can sync them, almost like Rewire.
You're getting stronger.
You see what I'm saying? So I think we're gonna be able to. I think Ableton is gonna be next. I feel like they're gonna be the next one to jump on the bandwagon. Studio One is probably the one that's the most compatible. I think they could make the switch quicker than any other DAW on the market right now because they've already got touch enabled ready. They've already got M1 compatible, so it's ready to. Studio One can run on ARM, just like Ableton can run on ARM. And I think most importantly, they've already got their user base on subscription. You know what I mean? And subscriptions is what works for these DAWs on the iPad. That's the biggest reason why a lot of these companies haven't moved over to the iPad or to iOS as a platform, because people ain't paying that kind of money for apps or for that sort of thing on iOS. The only way to win as a developer on iOS is if you have a subscription model. But I feel like that Ableton is because they're one of the holdouts that haven't went subscription based. They're one of the holdouts, but I feel like it's coming, and I feel like iPad is going to be right after that. What you think?
I think Ableton would smack everybody on iPad because it already is the way it's set up. I can see the features, like, you know what I mean. Once you switch and you're in that clip view, being able to just doom, zoom in, zoom out, going into that arrange the session view, being able to bring over loops
Yeah.
and stuff. Like the way it's set up is a little more friendly, and it doesn't use as much um, RAM, or like I think that's the right term for
CPU.
iPad
Yeah.
too. Yeah, it doesn't use as much processing power to work. Now that has changed a little bit because we keep asking for more features. But still I can run way more. So I'm interested. I think it's going to be a game changer because now we're getting ready to hear iPad music.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
I think so too. I think this is the way that it's going. Not just
This is where it's going to go.
Yeah. With Ableton, all of them, I think Reason, all of these, there are a few holdouts that are still not on a subscription based. But I think that's where it's going. As much as we don't want for it to go there, we all are subscription sick.
Is on it now.
Yeah.
When your granddaddy gets an iPhone, everybody should have one.
I mean, subscription is it, man.
Where it's going.
How many of us would have paid for a hardware subscription? Like, yo, you can subscribe to a 24 channel SSL. Like, come on, man. We would have been eating that up.
Good luck getting that back.
Right. Good luck getting it back. What's the shipping like on that?
It can't find me.
Rent a SSL for 9 days. You got to send it back though. You pay shipping.
I would tell you this though: what they gain. Somebody said they don't know what they would gain by putting it on an iPad. The truth is, we're becoming a more technical. We're becoming a tech savvy society, right?
Yeah.
The stage has gotten a lot smaller, right? So when you go to the iPad, what they're probably going to do is use a breakout cable. Right. From what I understand is even the new iPhone. I know Britain told the iPhone, listen, we can't do this USB thing that you guys are doing anymore. This doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
If you're going to do a new one here, you're going to have to do USB-C. Right. So what I can see happening is them starting to do having a more sophisticated breakout cable.
Yeah.
Right. For all of your things. So maybe they're the same way I have like what's the
USB-C? Yeah,
hub
I got a USB-C hub. Like all of the stuff that I got connected up right now is all running through a USB-C hub and one USB into my computer. So,
and that's the same way I am now. So I can see them having the same thing on the bottom of the iPad where you just plug it in. It's the same width as the iPad. And maybe it just sits up a little bit.
Yeah, but they got a lot of stuff like that already. They got some docks. They got some different things that you can buy. I think it's inevitable that's where it's going. It's going to go smaller than, that joint. And it's going to go smaller than that. Eventually, it's all coming here. Eventually, it's all going here.
That's it.
It's going to all be in our hands.
That's it. And so you have a lot. So in terms of what you have to gain, you have a broader audience because and the price point is different because the iPad is less expensive. My computer costs about a little over $6,000. My MacBook Pro. Now I could buy how many iPads?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So it works as it's a win-win. And when it comes to setting up, I can just throw my iPad out. I can work on my iPad in the car easier than my laptop.
Exactly.
I can work on the airplane easier on my iPad than y'all know how we be trying to produce in them seats.
Come on.
And you got to take that flight, and it ain't no more Delta One available.
Southwest,
and you just sitting there back there with everybody else. Southwest is the devil.
He said that with conviction.
My
wife her flight just got canceled, and she had to drive from Nashville to Rochester.
Dang, bro.
Yeah.
But no, I think that's right. And then it's more monetizable. As much as we don't want it, it's going to happen because this is I'm not even gonna try to say that word. Infinitely. Lord, the accent got me.
What's going on?
I know, right? This is
Somebody
more.
Hug him.
This is infinitely more monetizable than a laptop is because they can keep us rolling with that. You know what I mean? Like they could keep us with
Imagine if you
subscriptions.
could press play from your Apple Watch in
Exactly.
your Logic session when you at the microphone.
Exactly.
You actually
You know what I'm
can.
saying?
I think you actually can
I
do
think
that.
we can do that. I
But
think
this is
we
what
can
I'm
do
just
that.
saying.
Yeah.
When I found out I could do video, like see myself in my video from my
From your watch.
iPhone, my watch, I'm like, this is perfect.
I got a
You know what I'm saying?
video
This
from
is
like
about-
I got a video from like 6 or 7 years ago when the Apple Watch first came out, where I showed how to control Ableton from the Apple Watch. There was this app, I don't know if it's still available. It's called Watch Band, and I got it on my YouTube channel. You can go and actually, it's just got 4 buttons like start, stop, play, record, all of that, and literally you could just
Don't
hit.
fool with me.
I'll send the video to you after the stream. It'll trip you out.
I'm about to be my own MD doc.
For real, from the wrist, because I was intrigued by it. I was intrigued by it myself, and I figured it out.
But it's gonna go to wands. I think we're gonna get out of this. The next move is gonna be, and there's somebody that's already doing it now, but it's gonna be connectivity with our hands.
Yeah.
Where we're doing this.
Yeah, it's
You
happening.
know, where we can make a gesture. There's that gesture ring.
Iron Man
You
type
seen that?
vibes.
No, it's gonna happen. Like that. It's gonna be where if we swipe up, this happens. If we go down, that they already have.
Yeah,
it,
they have
but
some
it's
Yeah,
stuff.
there's
not
cameras, there's
friendly
PTZ
enough to
cameras that
mess
do
with.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's gonna turn into, once it becomes more user friendly, then you're gonna see it more populated. But this is a great start.
yeah. I think it's going to happen. I think it's inevitable that every DAW is going to go to mobile, and I think it's inevitable
But
that
if
they're
you
all going to
suck,
be
you're still gonna
subscriptions.
suck on the iPad.
Yeah,
Oh,
Don't think it's the answer, Reverend. I'm just saying, don't get that. And I'm saying this. Listen, I'm old enough now. I'm
Yeah.
in my 40s now, guys. So I made up in my mind. I am not in the business of. I don't have to try to make it right.
there you go. You made it.
Thank you, Lord. Right, and I'm not saying that in a cocky kind of way. I'm saying
No.
if somebody doesn't tell people the truth at a certain point, I'm gonna just sum everything up that I've said and that I've answered in the last hour or so. Is this? I'm like this. If you don't know what you're doing, you're not gonna know what you're doing buying an iPad. You just have more access. We're talking about access to tools. But if you don't know how to put a nail in with a hammer, listen, it ain't gonna change. I can give you a rubber hammer. You still can't put the nail in the wall. I can give you a larger or smaller hammer. You still can't put the nail in the wall without breaking the wall. So don't take the tools for magic bullets.
Come on.
If you, I want to see the next generation of people learn the history of what they're doing, so that when they sit down, when you pull up a B3 VST, how do I do this, and how do I make it more realistic? When someone asked me one time, it's like, dude, how are you playing B3 and a Nord at the same time? It's because I started out on B3. So when I'm looking at, even though this is a Nord, in my mind, I'm trying to get the Nord to respond as close to possible. As I got to turn that drive up a little bit. Okay, cool. Oh, that's not what it would sound like. You know what I'm saying? So those things are important. So don't just take all of these tools. Ableton is not going to make you a better producer. It may make you, no, I take that back. Ableton is not going to make you or Logic is not going to make you producer of the year. What it will do is give you a set of tools that you can master to become the best producer you can become, right?
Exactly.
But you still have to learn what those mics mean in that slate mic. You can't just click on it and think that your mic gonna sound automatic. No, man, you gotta learn, study to show.
You gotta study to show yourself approved. A workman that need not be ashamed, bro. Now, and my vibe is this, because I am a DAW connoisseur. I'm gonna make up for the bad word that I messed up earlier. I'm a DAW connoisseur. I know how to use all of them just about. I can work through, if you put me in the room and all I got is Reason, I can roll. If you put me in a
I think
room,
you're a little bit more efficient than that, because I think anybody competent can do that. You actually can efficiently work in them because they all function the same. Like I taught DAW, so I taught in school.
Definitely.
All function exactly the same. Record is record, play is play. This is a track, you on the track. Like that's all the same. So if you know the general premise, you can navigate, but
the problem is they don't
actually worked in them and can like, oh, quick key, edit this, like, oh, this
exactly.
That's what I'm
like,
talking
you actually
about.
know how to dig in.
That's what I'm talking
right
about.
now, right before we started this call, I literally just shut down Logic and Pro Tools right before we started the call. They're all I still use all of them.
I do,
and don't forget to call me back when
because they're tools. They're,
I got a new girl
because
now.
but I do it. I look at them like this because they're tools. They're tools, and you have to learn how to use what. There's a certain tool for the job. You know what I mean? If I'm doing if I'm doing a lot of arranging and composition, I'm heading to Logic first because I understand that workflow a whole lot better. Because like you said earlier, it's all about speed. What can get the job done faster? You know, any carpenter is going to come in and they're working on something like, okay, do I need do I need to bring my meter saw for this particular job, or can I get this done with a handsaw? You know, can I do I need to bring the drill, or do I just need a screwdriver? You know, which is going to get the job done faster? You know, so if I need to warp something, if I need to time stretch something, if I need something that's BPM conscious, I'm heading to Ableton, hands down. It's no question, because that's the best tool for the job. Same with Studio One for its various things. If I'm mixing, I'm going to Pro Tools. You know what I mean? If I'm editing, I'm probably, or me personally recording, I'm doing that in Studio One because I like the headroom I get in Studio One. I like the workflow and recording in Studio One, and I can get the job done faster than I could if I was in Pro Tools or if I was in Logic. Yeah, I could press record, but if we're talking about workflow, I can do better in a certain DAW for a certain tool. And so my admonishment to the people is, don't just stick yourself or get stuck with just in one DAW. You know, learn them all, learn the merits of them, learn why, because all of them honestly are copying one another. All of the new features that we see pop into Ableton, pop into Logic, pop into Studio One, they're all copying features from one another. When one creates a feature, so if you understand the origin of that feature, then you know how to use it and plug it into the DAW. So time stretching, flexing in Logic, they bit that from Ableton, 100%. They bit it from Ableton. So if you understand how like time stretching and pitch stretching and warping works, if you understand how it's supposed to work, then when you're over in Logic and that's the tool you have to use for the day, you know how to get around it. You know, if you know Melodyne, if you understand the origin of that pitch shifting tool, then when you get in flex pitch, you'll understand better how to get around flex pitch, because because if you go study the origin, then you'll be able to work in the facsimile. And that's my sermon for the day.
You got it. And so somebody said something about AI. They're already using AI.
Oh, that's a whole nother we got a pod we're gonna have to do just on that.
Yeah, I'll just say this: if you've never used Ozone, perhaps.
Ozone, they kind of invented that in our music space. They were doing AI stuff way before any of these other companies were.
It's AI.
You know, they figured it out.
We think, yeah, it is. It's here. It's here right now. He's here.
Yeah,
right?
Matter of fact, if we ain't done it yet, but look into it's Nectar or New? Is one of the
Neutron.
Neutron. That's it. Neutron. You can actually slap Neutron across all your tracks, and it will analyze how they work in relationship to each other and make decisions on how the blend should be. Then they have a view to where you can actually see all the tracks, and you can say, oh, I want the bass drum to be here. I want the snare to be here. Like, you can literally place stuff in the mix on a grid, kind of, sort of. So, yeah, it's already here. Like, people just not tapping into the tools.
Y'all remember a book a long time ago? I know we gotta go. We can talk shop.
Well, did your mic go out?
Come on out. Come on out here. The devil don't want me to be heard. Come on out. Come on out.
Preamps.
No, preamps. I would tell y'all what my mic is going to, but y'all not gonna judge me. So, anyway, look. But no. Do you remember a book a long time ago? It was like The Art of Mixing or something. And they had like a visual in there. That's essentially what. And I kept saying, I remember. Listen. It's somewhere on my. It's back there.
I got the PDF somewhere. That was like that Full Sail special.
I had that book. You remember the book was about this thick, but it had the visuals in it. And I was like, man, it'd be cool if somebody made a plug-in like this. Neutron, bro. When I saw that, I said the end is near. But here's the thing. Again, it is not a substitute for knowing how the thing works.
That's it.
It's just not. It's not. I
At
know
the
y'all
end of
trying
the
to
day.
do the 7.1 or however many, what is 7 point whatever it is now. Mix
Yeah.
the rounds
7.1.4.
down. Yeah. Right.
All of that.
Mixing and all that, but none of this stuff makes sense. Like, why are the drums back here?
Yep.
Why are they back there? That don't make sense. How am I looking at the stage? And my usher is the stage back. Bring them cymbals back. Bring can
Preach the
you
word.
why is she singing back there?
Preach
Bring her
Phoenix.
back
Be a
there, right?
good ad for Atmos. Why are the drums back?
Where's the drums back
And
here?
that's not new. Do y'all remember Missy Elliott?
Yeah.
Back when she
Yeah, I
said that,
remember
and that
Yeah,
you had to get,
she was one of the
you had
first to
have
do
it in
that.
the car. But the difference was her joint went crazy when that and that thing happened, and you had to be in a luxury car because you know the Civics. I had a Civic, mine didn't have no surround sound. I got in my friend's Mercedes, and that thing went around the car, and I said, "What's happening to my life?" I said, "She's everywhere."
Omnipresent.
Anyway, all that to say that AI, all of this stuff, Ableton, we talked about. Luna's my new baby. I'm so in love
Yeah.
with Luna.
We're going to have you on the pod just about that because we got to flesh that out. I got to spend some time with it first, and then we're going to come and have a conversation for it about
If
it.
you don't come from old studio world, you won't understand how beautiful Luna is. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
It's for us. Luna's for me.
There you go. We're gonna have that conversation. As Larry Reed Live says, that conversation. We're gonna have that about that about Luna. We're gonna have that pretty soon. But no, man, this has been dope, man. Hanging out. I know we could hang out for another hour if we wanted to, but it's just, hey, you got to get back to work. I got to get back to work. We all got to get back to work. It's work to be done in the kingdom.
I got to go mix in Pro Tools.
After talking about Ableton for an hour.
They sent me the session for Pro Tools, so I'm not doing all that.
Yeah, we opening up the church doors. No weapon for.
I hope I don't have to sing that anytime soon.
That's not gonna get old. That is not gonna get old. I'm gonna be laughing about that for the rest of the week.
We've all sang it.
No weapon.
At one point and of another.
Man, if I go to where they clean it, I'm walking out. Like I'm walking. Hey, I gotta take a moment, y'all. I'll be back.
If you ain't never.
That's the take of the day for me, man. That's the take of the day. Well, it's been real. It's been super dope hanging out. We're gonna rock and roll and get on out of here. We appreciate you, Vaughan. For those who just don't know how to get in contact with you in this digital world, man, let them know how they can connect with you on the socials, and if they want to work with you, all of those good things like that. And while you're talking, we're definitely going to put the class up for those who want to get that. Make sure you guys check that out. But go ahead, man. Let them know how they can connect to you, bro.
Hallelujah. Come on, someone. Grab your neighbor. I'm wilding. No, I'm Vaughan Phoenix across the board. So VAUGHAN, Phoenix like the bird, PHOENIX across the board. Twitter, Facebook, IG, TikTok, and Snapchat. All of it. It's the same. All right. So hit me up.
Yes, sir. Well, man, we appreciate all you guys hanging out with us. It's the Hangout. This is what we do. We'll be back again next week or the next couple of weeks. It depends on what
my
topic.
handle right though. We're not gonna do God like that. PHOENIX.
Get it right. Get it right. Let's get it right.
Get it right.
Get it right. Then we're gonna get it out. Let's get it up there first. Here we go.
I love hanging out with y'all. This is perfect.
Yo, man, that's what it's about. It's live. Yeah, it's live, but it's gonna be amazing. We're gonna be back again with another conversation, with another hangout, with a dope topic, and we're gonna be able to rock and roll. So we appreciate you guys. We appreciate all y'all hanging out, and we're gonna be out. Make sure y'all follow Vaughan. Make sure y'all check us out. Hit the site. Check out Vaughan's class. Check out everything. Be on the lookout for his record. What's the record gonna be called?
Letters in a Bottle. I'm gonna be
Letters in a Bottle.
Really soon. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Be on the lookout for that. It's gonna be super dope. I'm telling y'all want to get that record as soon as it comes out. Don't stream it, buy it. Support the brother, because I'm gonna buy my copy. Even though he sent it to me before, I'm still gonna buy it as soon as it drops day one. And so make sure y'all do that, and we'll tap in with you guys next week on the next one. We appreciate y'all. We out. Peace.